Put your faith in the light.
Hello guys, welcome to another one of my videos. This is Lightblade. Well guys, this will be the last guide I'll be doing from here from Bastion because well, the next one will be into Dragon Isles. So guys, before we start, a small disclaimer, this is going to be an only Mythic Plus guide, won't be going over single target or raid scenarios, since those kinda vary a lot. And well, it's also going to be a short and compact guide, since well, the pre-patch is also a very short period. So with that out of the way, let's go over the contents of the guide. First, I'll talk about talents, then I'll be showing how to use the two iterations we currently have. After that, it's Soulbinds, Legendaries, and finally an overview on stats, gems, and enchants. Let's start with the guide. And well guys, now let's talk about talents. So all the talents I'll be talking about here, you can find them down in the description down below, so you can just copy that and paste it. First, let's start with general paladin trees. I'm just going to take all the utility we can get from this place, especially our core utility, Lay on Hands, Blessing of Freedom, Blessing of Protection, Blessing of Sacrifice, Cleanse Toxins. The only change you could do here is instead of Cleanse Toxins, you could take a point in Devotion Aura if your group really wants to get that 3% damage reduction. But for the most part, you will be using Retribution Aura and Mythic Plus because well, now we can actually get a benefit without people dying because we get some free Seraphim procs from it. Okay, so on the Retribution Paladin side, there is only one small change I would do here, and is this: instead of Ashes to Dust, you can take Radiant Decree. Both playstyles are pretty close together in damage, and both eventually at the end of the key, you know, overall. The Radiant Decree one is a bit more consistent because it's not a proc, so you're not hoping to like get a lot of resets of Ashes to Dust, but you just control the 15-second Wake of Ashes that is now a spender instead of a builder. This also has the benefits of getting a lot of our extra damage multipliers, like for example Final Reckoning and Judgment and all those things. So both options are viable, and I'll show you guys how to use them both in their different openings. So now let's go into that. Well guys, this is the build with normal Wake of Ashes. First, build 5 Holy Powers so you get your Dusk and Dawn proc. After that, just drop Consecration and start building, spending, building, spending. The only thing you have to note here is use Divine Toll and then use Final Reckoning so you can get those juiced up spenders with the extra 16% damage from Divine Toll, because we're using Pelagos here. After that, try to drop your Exorcism wherever you can. You saw at the start of the build, I actually couldn't use my Exorcism because I got too many procs of our spender, so sometimes that's going to happen. It's okay to leave Exorcism on cooldown. Using spenders is a bit more important. After that, just build and spend as normal. Try to drop your Consecration when it's possible. If you're using Pelagos, get your little ghosty, it's gonna give you a bunch of extra strength. And that's pretty much the way you open with this build. And guys, this is the one for Radiant Decree. Basically, it's the same. Start, build 5 Holy Power, and build Crusade stacks up to the max. As soon as you have your max Crusade stacks, drop your Divine Toll, Final Reckoning, Radiant Decree, and just blow up whatever you are hitting. Try to always use your Exorcism and Consecrations as normal, and put your Radiant Decree on cooldown as fast as possible. It should line up always with your next Final Reckoning because well, it's a 15-second cooldown and it lines up perfectly with your 1-minute Final Reckoning. That's pretty much the build. Just keep building and spending. Always use your Radiant Decree. Okay guys, let's talk about Soulbinds. So we have two options for Mythic Plus dungeons. You either take Pelagos or you take Mechanicus. Both are fine. Mechanicus' biggest strength is Hammer of Genesis because it gives you a bunch of extra haste. When you combine this with Crusade, you can reach up to over 100% haste for a few seconds, which is incredibly powerful. The downside of Mechanicus is that, well, with him our Divine Toll becomes like a 40-second cooldown ability because of Effusive Anima Accelerator, which makes it a bit awkward to use with Final Reckoning since we're kind of an hybrid build between 2-minute and 1-minute class. But it's still a really strong choice to use a Mechanicus. For conduits, you want to use Truth's Wake and you want to use a Ringing Clarity and Hammer of Genesis. For Pelagos, Pelagos is also really good in Mythic Plus dungeons, especially because he adds a lot of cooldown multipliers, which is combat meditation. This is about 14 to 15% more damage in mastery terms. And you also have Newfound Resolve, which is defensive and offensive, gives you 10% mastery, strength and stamina for 15 seconds when you look at the ghost. Obviously, it's a bit more tricky to use Pelagos because you have to like move around to use and get your orbs and look at the ghost, but the benefits are pretty decent. Also, he gives us a bit more defensive power with Let Go of the Past. 3% damage reduction on this thing is pretty decent. For conduits, use Ring and Clarity and use Truth's Wake. The third conduit of potency can be a lot of things. You can use it Adaptive Armor Fragment. You can either put their Expurgation, and well, yeah, both of those two options are really good. But this Adaptive Armor Fragment has a lot of value because we are getting a lot of extra strength from a lot of sources at the moment as Red Paladin. This is about 4.5 strength. And on top of that, we can add our Aspirations of Divinity. That's 6% more strength. That's a total of 10.5 strength, and on top of that you can get a proc of, for example, your weapon enchantment, Celestial Guidance. That's another 5%, so you're getting 15% extra strength on just passively when things are happening. And if you look at your ghost, you get another 10, so that's 25% baseline strength. On top of Pelagos, making your Final Reckoning always sync up with your Divine Toll. That way you can funnel all the mastery from Pelagos to the Final Reckoning empowered abilities, which is pretty good if you ask me. So those are our two options of Soulbinds for Mythic Plus dungeons. Okay guys, let's talk about legendaries. And well, we have now a lot of options. Since Tempest of the Lightbringer is now just a point in our talent tree and it's basically the same, we don't have to take it. We can take other stuff. And the first option I'll give you guys is Mad Paragon. Well, we have three options. Mad Paragon is pretty strong. It extends your wings by 1 second for each Hammer of Wrath you use. You can use about 7 Hammers of Wrath in your crusade duration, so you can extend your wings for 7 seconds, which is pretty strong, you know. This also guarantees that you can get your Radiant Decree cast, your second cast, in your wings duration. So pretty strong legendary. It just adds more damage to our burst. If you're looking for more sustained options, we have two. Relentless Inquisitor is really easy to use. It's stacking 1% haste per finisher for 12 seconds up to 5 times. So basically 5% extra haste. That's pretty much it. It's multiplicative haste, so it basically is going to give you between 6 to 7% haste in total after calculations are done. So it's a pretty just easy legendary to use. You just use abilities, you get haste. Next one, we got the Magistrate's Judgment. This one is pretty special. I like it a lot because it just makes me spam abilities like crazy, because we have so many procs on top of this. We have Divine Purpose, we have Imperium Power, and we have this Holy Power reduction of spenders. So sometimes you can throw like 5 Holy Power spenders in a row without even having to build, which is like really damn crazy, you know, guys. So I really like the Magistrate's Judgment. That's our second sustaining option. So those are our legendary choices, guys. We have 3. If you are just going for the safe side, I would recommend using just Relentless Inquisitor, since it's just the safest legendary to use. You just get haste, you don't have to do anything. But if you're feeling experimental, the 3 options are pretty close in damage, I would say. And try the Magistrate's Judgment. You're going to like it. And now let's go to the stat weights. Okay guys, let's talk about Retribution Paladin stat weights, enchantments and gems. So all these things come hand in hand. Basically our stat weights are something like this: strength first, then mastery, then haste, then critical strike, then versatility. I put mastery at the start because, well, the simulations will ask you to get as much mastery as you can for Mythic Plus dungeons mostly. My recommendation on mastery is between 55% to 65% on character sheet. Those are pretty good benchmarks to have. After that, you want to get a lot of haste. Between 25% to 30% haste on character sheet is pretty good. Critical strike and versatility are pretty much hand in hand, and get whatever you can after you get your haste and mastery done. For gemming and enchanting, as I said before, try to enchant and gem as many mastery things as possible. If you're missing a bit of haste, just enchant and gem a bit of haste. If you already have all the sockets on your gear, basically you could get one of these straddling jewel doublets. It's going to give you 7% speed, which is pretty useful for all Retribution Paladins because we're kind of slow. After that, our main enchantment for our weapon is Celestial Guidance. This will give you 5% strength pretty consistently over the course of a key, which is really strong for us because everything scales with our strength. And well guys, those are our statways, enchantments, and gems. And well guys, that's going to be all for that short crash course on Retribution Paladins in the pre-patch. I hope you guys enjoyed it and actually helped you guys. If it did, please consider subscribing to the channel and leaving a like in the video. Thanks for watching everyone.